Medicke, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Technology for Top Level Management. So what we're going to walk through today is part one of a multi-part series for website best practices. So the kind of theme of this is, and especially today, is getting your website set up for success from day one. The first part that we go through is what platform. So really there's kind of two pieces that you'll see that are going to be offered to you as you start to launch your website. The first is a small business solution. You can see the big red circle and no sign through that. We definitely don't recommend that. That might be a good solution for day one, which maybe is right for day one, but doesn't set you up for success. So definitely don't do that. You'll see a lot of vendors offer you things from WordPress to Weebly to Squarespace. They're easy to deploy, they're cheap to deploy, but they have a litany of problems that you really just don't want to get into over time. What we really like to advocate for is a solution that scales. This doesn't necessarily mean expense. It doesn't necessarily mean kind of anything more than just the solution that's right for you and that sets you up for the longest time possible. So these can be open source to enterprise, and usually you can find a good combination of the two. The one in particular that we like to use is used by both enterprises, or is used by enterprises, but is very open source at the same time. And what that does is that's all about scale. The next thing that we look at is that scale. The right solution scales. First, don't get hacked. So if you're over here and you're looking at WordPress, it's one of the most hacked solutions. They've done a lot to try to alleviate that, but nonetheless, it is a distinct possibility. There's a lot of other platforms, Drupal, Joomla, etc., that also have a high hack rate just because they're used a lot. They're extended by kind of poorly coded extensions or plugins or whatever that particular platform calls them. But then you're left with something that may have extended your platform to begin with, but is now increasing the possibility that you get hacked. Don't get hacked. It'll shut down your business. It looks bad for search engines. There's a lot of reasons not to get hacked. It costs you money. The next thing is, so this is setting up for success from day one, but the answer, or the question you need to ask yourself is, will your solution work today and in 5 years? That's a really important question. Make sure that the platform that you use, and more importantly, the code that you use inside that platform extends. It's a technology, kind of ethos that might be kind of hard to put into words or be hard to hear sometimes from the wrong person, but basically what that's saying is make sure that your platform works for you and isn't something that you're going to have to move away from in too short a time. Sometimes you can hear that and you can say, okay, well, but I need it cheap now. You can get the right solution and it's cheap now. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a bad solution. The other one is the right solution puts the power in the right hands. And what we're talking about there is that if you want to create a page, you shouldn't be connected to the company that built the website. You shouldn't be connected to anybody else or anybody other that can basically put together a Word document. So make sure that your solution supports that person and puts the power in their hands. The other thing is, if you want to extend the platform, say create a new template, create a new type of page, design inside of the page, the other person that you're going to want to put the power in the hands of is your graphic designer or your web designer. They take a lot less time and money than a web developer does. They're a lot cheaper, and you're putting the power in their hands. You only want to use your web developer when it's absolutely necessary. Now, this isn't to say anything bad about developers. They're great, but they're expensive, and they're time-consuming, and they're project-based. So you try to keep it away from that as much as possible, and they'll thank you for it, right? Because what they're really trying to talk to you about is they want to do development. They don't want to be in charge of every time you need a change on your website, they have to get involved. It's bad for them, it's bad for you, so on and so forth. As the next step of that, is performance tips. Now you kind of understand what you're going to do with your website. How do you make it more powerful? So you'll see the SEO thing. We'll get to that in a second, although most people are very interested in it. The first thing is conversion. Is your site set up for business? It's a really common mistake. A lot of people try to build a lot of different websites. Everybody uses websites, so they tend to think that they've got a really good opinion on it. The answer there lies somewhere in between, right? You want the website to reflect and kind of be a part of your business and really kind of create the vibrant space that your business lives in online. But it doesn't necessarily need to be just vibrant. It should be about business. So what do you look for in that, right? So that can be, first and foremost, depending on the type of your business, lead forms and phone numbers. If you don't have those two on your website, if they're not ever present, if there's not a place to fill out a form or call a phone number on every page, you've missed the game. Your customers can't find you. They can't contact you. It needs to be on every page. The other thing would be other conversion points, right? So your business may have a particular thing that you do that's a little bit different than just leads. You may want to sell something online. You may want to schedule something online. That's your other conversion point, right? So that's as valuable as the lead. The thing that I want to get into really quickly in there is that don't necessarily make a solution fit your business because you think your consumer will want it. Your consumer may tell you they want it, but if you make the end solution too difficult or jump between too many software platforms, it's not going to work anyway. So try to make sure that you kind of scope down your solution to be the right solution for the customer, the right solution for you, so you can operationalize it and make it the most powerful thing possible. The next thing is promote your products and services. We left the SE there just to keep you guessing. Make sure that every product and service that you have on that page or on that website has a page, has a presence, because that's how people find you online. They don't find you through the home page. It's kind of a common misconception. The homepage is only there to distribute people back out to the services and products because that's where people convert on your website. The last piece is SEO. So you're a franchise. There's a lot of power that comes from that. So the first thing is your location list. This is where your internal link building starts for SEO. We'll get much deeper into SEO topics as we go, but make sure your location list is not only linked to from every page, but you have a list of every service and every location on your website. It's important. It's dramatically important. Next, authorship. Authorship helps search engines connect your website to the businesses that you actually have, right? So in this case, the locations, the franchises that you have. So Google Plus markup is incredibly important. It's kind of had a little bit of mythology applied to it. You still have to do it. It's still incredibly important. Any page that isn't attached to a location, make sure that it's attached to the brand page. That increases the elevation of your brand page, and again, really, really important. And then any page that is a local page, make sure it links to a Google Plus page for that location. Very, very important. Next is mark it up. Again, something we'll get into in much deeper detail over time. But every page that you have, and there's several ways to mark it up, and we'll get into that. But needs to have name, address, phone number, and business info on it. What that does is that allows search engines to tie pages and content back to the location, and that's going to be a huge win for your company. So, at the end of it all, this is the part one of the website best practices, and if you do all of this, you'll definitely have your website set up for success, not only on day one, but for the next 5 years. Thank you very much. Have a good day.